remember that a couple of weeks ago at the Oscars, Best Actress winner Michelle Yeoh spoke to women all over the world saying, quote, "Ladies, don't tell anybody that you are ever past your prime." I remember that. She brought the house down, and truer words have never been spoken. So joining us now with steps on how to find our joy in the second act is motivational speaker and author and America's Joy Magnet, Sherry Elise. We are so glad to have you. Ashley and I spoke with you a few weeks ago via Zoom. You were at home in California, and now you're here in person. So thanks for bringing us joy.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled to be here with you both.
Oh, good to have you. So let's get into these recommendations, because finding that joy in a second act can be very challenging.
Well, first I want to say it's just like the intermission after intermission of a play, and you're at the second act and how everything comes together and all the momentum. I feel like, especially for us midlife women, we are just getting started. And we come to a point in our lives where we stop listening to everybody else. And so I say turn up the volume on your voice. Turn that up, turn your inner critic down, and turn down the voices of your friends and listen in to who you are and what you have to offer.
I can definitely attest to this. I mean, I'm 34, but I feel like I'm also in another act of my life, you know, ending my marriage and just embarking on this new journey of being a mom, being a single lady. So I think that that's really essential for all of us, because there is definitely so many external voices, you know, social media, your friends, your family, like it's just, you're being pummeled every which way.
Absolutely. And I think we get that from the time that we're young. This is how you're supposed to live. This is what you're supposed to do. And by the time you get to a certain point in your life, you see that showing up for other people and doing for other people never feels good internally. And you'll always have that inner critic, so you might as well just do what feels good to you.
And it's also, like you said, it's about learning and unlearning, right? The conditioning that we've had over the years. You also talk about cleaning out your closet. What does that mean outside of the actual closet at your home?
So that is all really about rediscovering who you are. So rediscovering what your values are, what your beliefs are, what your non-negotiables are, because as we just said, you grow up doing what everybody else wants for you and from you. And so actually figuring out, like, oh, this is the things that I like to do. This is how I want to show up in the world. And then you also want to rid the closet of the guilt, the shame, and all of that other stuff that's been buried in there.
So what are the practical steps that you can take to get there? I mean, is it journaling? Is it therapy? What does that look like?
For me, it honestly, I think it's different for everybody. There's not a one-size-fits-all, but for me, it came down to actually just asking the question, what do you like to do, Sherry? Not what does everybody else want me to do, but what feels good for me. And so I started paying attention to my body and seeing how my body changed and what lit up inside. And that led me in a direction to start doing the things I love.
And then you say, too, to lose yourself after you clean out the closet. What does that mean? Elaborate.
Losing yourself is about learning to not recognize yourself, making choices that you've never made before simply because there's a peak of interest. I recently started doing stand-up comedy. I'm not amazing at it, but I had this thing that was like, check it out. And so I found myself on a famous stage in LA doing stand-up because it simply was something that piqued my interest.
I love that. That's how I am with gardening. You know, I get my garden out. I'm so excited, but it makes me so happy. And I never knew that it would bring me so much joy, you know?
And also picking up things that you put down. I haven't shared this, I guess, up until now.
Here we go.
But I used to play piano when I was younger. I played the trumpet for several years, and the sheet music, all of that is the same. And I got back into that this year with lessons, and a lot of things came back. And so I think, too, just looking back at new hobbies and then old hobbies, too.
Absolutely.
That's part of it, right?
It's again back to that rediscovery of yourself. But I always say that we get into this box of all the things that we think that we have to do. And so losing yourself is about stepping out of that box, becoming unfamiliar with things, getting out of your comfort zone and just going for it.
I love that.
And finally, once you do all of that, celebrate yourself.
Celebrate yourself. Look at how far we've come. We've, you know, lost relationships, you know, we've lost jobs, we've gone through life. And the fact that we are still here and we are standing, I'm like, give yourself a pat on the back and say, yes, I did it. I may not have done it perfectly, but but I did it, and here I am.
Yeah, what is perfectly anyway?
Exactly.
Right? What does it look like?
Exactly.
So that's
We're
amazing.
perfectly imperfect.
That's
All,
right.
Each and every one of us.
Love that.
One thing I've done too recently is I have like a young picture of myself sitting on my coffee table at home, only because it takes me back to where I came from.
Yeah.
And it makes me happy to be where I am. So gratitude is a huge piece of that. And sometimes you need a visual reminder to really get it.
Yeah, it's so beautiful
You
because
know?
you get to look at yourself, like you said, and be able to see actually how far that you've come. And I often look at that little girl. I still see her in my eyes when I look in the mirror, and I say, I'm so proud of you. I go, I love you.
I wish we had more time.
I know.
How can we stay connected
amazing.
really, really fast?
You can go to my website, SherryElise.com, and all my socials are there.
You can get our book too, Love Yourself Happy. Thank you so much, Sherry, for
Always
coming
so
in.
great.